We're now ready to install the ramps in the back of the van. I decided to add this 4-foot long piece of 1x6 board. Plywood's a good decking material, but it's weak, especially at the edges, and it should always have some kind of framing. I'm not going to just nail it in place either. I'm going to drill some pilot holes and screw it in place with a whole bunch of these little 1 5/8 inch sheetrock screws, as you see. Drill the holes through the plank, not the plywood. You want the screws to go through the plank and grab the plywood and pull them together real tight. The screws will go all the way through the plank and the plywood, protrude underneath the plywood a little bit, maybe 1/4 inch, 3/8 of an inch. But that's okay. That'll keep the unit from sliding around inside of the car, especially when you hit the brakes. However, do not try to drill any holes in your floorboard. That deck is over fuel lines, brake lines, your spare tire, and your gas tank. I'm sure you get the point. You now have a good mounting surface for the hinges themselves. It's strong, it'll last, it won't tear apart. We're about ready for installation. I've added 4 short legs, as you can see, to give the ramp some strength right there at the knee joint. And there's too good of a chance they'd collapse under the weight of this 155-pound mobility chair, and I felt they were necessary. You can see the actuator, vertical actuator arm and its support arm. All this was made out of one 10-foot piece of 1/2 inch conduit, EMT conduit. Very strong. It's made out of steel. There was a gap problem. Once I placed the ramps in the proper position, the attachment plates were about 3/4 of an inch too high, and that left a pretty significant gap. So I solved the problem. I took the plates off, took the forward bolts, ran down a nut to act as a spacer, and then reattached these plates to the ramps on the bottom side of the ramps. With the hinges in what will be their final position, you can see there is no further gap problem, and we can go further. As you can see from the photograph, the ramps are in place. They've retracted very well. They clear the top of the opening. We will henceforward add the operating hardware, cables, and so forth. We will use these 2 example lag bolts. I believe they're 1/2 inch by 1/4 inch. They're fairly robust. They'll hold everything in place, but drive them in carefully. They will split the wood.